It's kind of switching over there. We're going live, guys. Hey, I'm here a little early, guys. I'm here with Let's OTVO, who was actually with Chille in court. And so let me just kind of lay down a little bit of the groundwork here, what I'm trying to do. Because I know there's like a ton of people who really don't like Chille, and they're talking about his background and how terrible of a person he is and how happy they are that he got put in jail. And I'm not here to talk about his background, just like I'm not here to talk about Joe Biden's background as somebody who has a bad past with minor children and stuff like that. I'm not here to talk about Trump's background. None of that matters to me. I'm here to talk about a case where somebody I know, who I consider to be a friend, went to court, and it appears as though he was falsely convicted based upon the evidence that I saw. And I believe that he has some appealable issues. And we're just here to break down what happened in court. And so all the people that hate him and all that, and they want to talk about, I'm not a real lawyer because I didn't go to an ABA school and all that stuff. I mean, there weren't even any law schools until after, I think, the Civil War, right? Everybody became a lawyer the way I did, which is how the Knights Templar originally set it up at the Inns of Court, where you would study under judges or lawyers until such time as they felt that you were ready. And then at that time, you would pass the bar, you would enter the bar. And I believe that was a superior way to become a lawyer. And that's why I was already doing complex litigation and appellate work by the time I actually got my law license. So just so you know my background, I was an appellate lawyer. I worked as a law clerk for the city attorney in the prosecutorial division, worked at a Home Depot at night so I could do this program. Ended up being an extern for the California Court of Appeal, which less than 10% of lawyers ever get an opportunity to do. And ended up getting a really nice house next door to the appellate judge that I clerked for. So that was pretty cool. So just to lay a foundation, ABA schools, you might be impressed by that. But what I've seen is people who go to academic institutions, K through college, generally are pretty brainwashed and they support whatever the government tells them to do, are very submissive and obsequious towards what we would call authority, which is exactly what our founding fathers didn't support. So I have a problem with the educational industrial complex and how Marxists have infiltrated it and destroyed the minds of people who could have been trained how to be critical thinkers. So with that foundation laid, everybody, I think we should free Chille. Everybody put FC in the comments if you think we should free Chille. FC, FC, FC. Right, and like every member of the Supreme Court until we had a bar exam, they all studied law by reading the law, and all the original members of the Supreme Court, several of them never even had law licenses or anything like that. But it's discussed on my other website, lawofficestudy.net. But for all those people who think you have to have all these degrees and stuff like that, that's wonderful. I'd love to go against you in court sometime and watch you lose. I've seen that happen a million times. I love it when people underestimate me. But let's go on now. FC, FC, hoorah! All right, so I've got Let's OTVO. Let's go into a little bit about what happened here. And the first thing I'm going to do is just show you some video from Here's the Deal to get an idea of how this all started, because he created this really cool video. So we're going to go over this real quick. Here we go.
When you asked the defendant to back up, did he follow your order?
No, he did not.
See him backing up?
I gave him 3 additional warnings to back up.
Okay, and did he obey those orders?
No, he did not.
I don't really want to be part of your YouTube channel.
So you can see, guys, right there, in my opinion, the officer lied under oath, and the court should have taken sua sponte notice that Chille was backing up. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely absurd that was considered not following the commands. Now, let's backtrace a little bit. Let's OTVO thinks that he didn't even have to back up because there is no law. There is no 20-foot law. There is no 15-foot law. There is no officer safety law. This is all stuff that's made up And this is why people like me and other jurists who aren't state suckers think that we need to reel this stuff in. Okay? There is no law that says any of this stuff. There is no officer safety trumps the Constitution either. So anyways, let's go ahead and watch the rest here.
You already are.
Great.
You already are. He's a pig.
Excuse me?
I said he's a pig.
Okay. So I'm not going to permit you to speak to anybody in my courtroom in that.
So we'll just go back over to that real quick. So here's something that you're going to see. The judge singled out Chille and wanted him to give her his phone. So we kind of know she already has some preconceived ideas about what he's going to do. And so he goes to hand his phone to the prosecutor, and it doesn't look like the judge like that, but the bailiff just goes ahead and snatches it out of his hand. And that's called a battery. Okay. So a battery is an unconsented to touching. When you snatch something out of someone's hand, that's a battery. Now, there could be an argument that he was trying to wrestle the phone from Chille, or that he was following the court's commands, but a judge's commands don't give a bailiff the right to violate the Constitution. She didn't say seize his phone and snatch it from him. She just said, hand him your phone to Chille. And so he was going to hand it to the prosecutor, which he was well within his rights to do. She's the head of the prosecutorial team. So there shouldn't be any problem with that at all, guys. So let's just go and watch the rest of this.
Manner, he wants this. He wants to get arrested. He wants to get into an altercation with police officers. He welcomes this. This helps his YouTube channel. He called the officers here in my courtroom today pigs. He called me, and he's nodding his head up and down. So apparently he hates every law enforcement officer in the United States. All right. Please stand up, sir.
Mind your own business. I'm a member of the press.
So we'll just kind of follow along with this really quick. So what ended up happening is she basically doesn't like Chille, and she didn't find him in contempt, but in my opinion, it looks like her sentence was the equivalent of contempt. Now, people will say that she has the discretion to do that, and you're right, she absolutely does. I'm not going to deny that, and I think that she has every right to be offended as a human being if her court decorum is improperly approached by people in the court. But like I was telling Let's OTVO the other day, you know, he's not a trained lawyer. He is a legal scholar. He's pretty good. I mean, I've checked out, had some in-depth conversations with him about the Constitution, and he really seems to understand the political underpinnings of how a lot of these horrible justices that we've had in the past got appointed with big corporations and whatnot. And so I think he's on the right track on a lot of things. I don't agree with him on everything, but all you people saying that all this stuff about his background and stuff, that's irrelevant for purposes of this. The whole idea of justice is that it's blind. So if you guys don't like him, that's cool. But you saying that you're glad that he's in jail after watching this clear evidence that he did follow commands, even though in my opinion, he didn't have to. He was already far enough away. That's just my opinion. Let's take a look. We'll get some more here.
Go get in your car and do your job, little doggy. Go feed her. Okay, then detain him.
An American is locked away in a concrete and steel cage for the next 180 days. He damaged no property. He stole no property, and neither harmed nor threatened to harm any other man or woman on this earth. He's in jail on 2 charges: obstructing a public officer and resisting a public officer in a single incident that took place on March 15th, 2023 in this parking lot at this exact location in the parking lot at 4155 South Grand Canyon Drive in Las Vegas, Nevada. Thankfully, the incident was recorded on at least 2 cameras. And if you remain objective, you're going to see exactly what happened that day. And if you're honest, you'll conclude that a man is sitting in jail for absolutely no reason. The American sitting in the cage is Chille Decastro from the YouTube channel DeleteLawz. And it really doesn't matter what you think of him. It doesn't matter if you like and support him. It doesn't matter if you hate and deride him. The question is he guilty of breaking a law?
Bingo. And that's what I'm here to talk about. So all of you people who continually want to throw ad hominem comments at me like I haven't been in court in 10 years, that's not true. I go to court all the time. But that's also irrelevant. What's relevant is whether or not Chille is guilty. And based upon the evidence, based upon the actual videos, you can see that he backed away when the officer told him to back away. He popped off to the officer. The officer doesn't like it. We discussed this yesterday. Nevada police are treated like royalty when you compare them to Los Angeles police. They get, hotels and all kinds of great stuff, casino stuff, food, you name it. They're treated like royalty. And of course, I know from having worked for judges that in a courtroom, you're pretty tight with your staff, your bailiff, your clerk. So she's not going to take it. She's not going to let Chille pop off. And I'll be honest with you, if I was a judge, I wouldn't, but at the same token, the guy did snatch Chille's camera, and that is a battery. Somebody mentioned in the comments that it's an assault, but actually, no, it's a harmful and offensive touching. It was totally unnecessary. And it was an expression of the bailiff's anger, probably just doesn't like Chille. So my experience has been in cases like this, they know this guy's coming and they're rolling out the red carpet for him. All the bailiffs, the court clerks, they've all talked about it. They've watched the videos. They're licking their chops on how they're going to get this guy. That's been my experience. Now, whether that happened here, who knows? But I could understand if somebody who's never met him, somebody who's never seen him or understands what he's gone through would think that. But again, he's backing up. He's following instructions, and that's what he did. So let me look over in the comments here and see. Okay, it says here, Shock Prof says the cop wants to hurt and damage and arrest everyone in the public. Well, I don't know that all police want to do that, but I understand how you feel. I used to think that way too when I was growing up. It's not always like that. In fact, I was actually going to try to become a deputy sheriff at one point, but my injuries from being in the military didn't make it possible for me, but I did try out for the LA Sheriff's Academy. So I'm not, somebody who's really 100%, anti-cop or any of that stuff. I just thought I could do a good job and maybe help people. So let's see what the rest of this video has to say for us.
If so, what law did he break? Did he commit a crime? Did he create a victim? Does he really deserve to be in jail for a single hour, let alone 180 days? Did he get a fair trial? Was he well represented? Was the judge impartial? Did the cop who was involved give a lawful command? What does lawful even mean? And just as importantly, and people who support Chille may not like this consideration, did Chille conduct himself in a way that would not psychologically disturb the people who already stagger under the drunkenness of their own unbridled power? Now, this is an hour-and-a-half court proceeding, and I'm only going to comment on what I consider the highlights. The link to the entire video will be provided in the description. Here's the awkward initial clash between Chille and Judge Ann Zimmerman.
Are you Mr. Decastro? Can you turn off the phone, please? The one that's in your hand?
Just meeting against my lawyer. He's on his way here now. I'm just waiting for him to get
All right, I'm gonna wait for your attorney, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Jose Decastro, 23 CR 013015.
Good morning, Your Honor. Agnes Botello, the case record. Good morning, State.
Good morning, Mike. Me on behalf of the defendant, present with me this morning.
All right, so it looks like we had some problems there with the comms. Are you guys still hearing me? Put in the comments if you can hear me. Can you guys hear me? Hello, hello, hello. Well, hopefully you guys can hear me. Okay, cool. All right. So for some reason the sound went down. Let me just kind of try to get back into this. Sometimes I have some problems. Let me see here. All right, so we got that going. I hope you guys like the Here's the Deal breakdown that he's doing. I think it's really good. In fact, I'd venture to say that this guy would make a great lawyer. So let's go ahead and let him finish up here.
Record or live streams proceedings. So I need Mr. Decastro and everybody else who wants to stay in the courtroom to surrender their phones, or you can leave.
Are your phone helping them now? Take one from the next.
Americans have to know that nearly every courtroom across the land is a constitution-free zone. You have to disarm and you have to follow the court rules, which hardly ever line up with the Bill of Rights. Zimmerman demonstrates her disdain for Chille's rights and the rights of everybody else in the courtroom to personally record and act as press.
Okay, so let's get into that really quick. So I disagree on that one. A court, as we discussed yesterday, it's not a public forum. And as such, there are time, place, and manner restrictions on the type of speech that you can engage in. In fact, cameras are actually not allowed at the U.S. Supreme Court. And there's a lot of reasons behind that. I don't agree with any of them. I think that everything should be recorded because I think you can pick up demeanor and other things that you wouldn't pick up in an audio recording or in a writing. So I disagree with him there, but in principle, I agree with the thought that you're right. Absolutely. That, you want to have maximum speech, like Elon Musk says, right? You want to have the max. So let's take a little bit more of a look at this. Give me a second here, get this going.
She makes it clear that it's her courtroom. She's in control.
Well, it is.
And only allows certain people to record. Now here's the friction between Chille, the judge, and the court bailiff.
I need Mr. Decastro to empty all of his pockets.
What's that?
Yeah, empty your pockets and give up your phones to the judge.
So the cop's acting like a drill. So hold on. The cop's acting like a drill instructor, right? He's acting like a tough guy. So naturally, that's going to get a guy like Chille upset. So let's go.
Yep. I don't really want to be part of your YouTube channel. So
You already are.
great.
You already are.
Awesome.
I'm not gonna get into this guy though. I'll get into someone else.
No, they're gonna go to my marshal.
So you see that. Okay, so the bailiff literally snatched the phone out of his hand. And now the judge did say, no, it's going to go to my marshal. That's fine. But I don't think that it's lawful for him to snatch it out of Chille's hand. I think that's a battery. Put it in the comments. If you're a lawyer and you disagree, 'cause that's the beauty of law. It's an art. You practice it, right? There's people on two sides and some people agree, some people don't. But put it in the comments if you don't think that that's a battery, because in law school, they actually teach that is under case law there. And I lost Let's OTVO, which sucks because I wanted to have him talk about his experiences. But look, I'm going to be running these things. Hold on a second. I'm going to try to run these videos for the rest of the week and through the weekend to try to get through the whole court appearance. And I also wanted to update you on some things that I learned as well. So let's do that really quick because I know a lot of people are asking. We have a situation where his website's down. So people are like, oh my God, his website's down. What did his old business partner do that to get revenge? Well, based on what I understand is one of his assistants took the website down because they can't process online orders through the website with Chille gone. But I think the proper approach would have been to 301 redirect that down website so he doesn't lose page rank and link juice and all that to an alternative site that can accept payments. That's how I would recommend it. Now listen, if you disagree that it's battery, well, you can just Google what case law is that? So you can just Google snatching case, U.S. Supreme Court, snatching is a battery, and it'll pull up all the case law about it. But yeah, if you snatch something out of someone's hand, that's a battery. It's an unconsented to physical contact. So keep that in mind, guys, for all you non-lawyers. And by the way, if people here want to learn the law, I actually am a law professor. I do teach people how to become a lawyer without law school on the California State Bar Law Office Study Program. And I'm more than happy to do some short courses in torts and criminal law, just to give you a basic understanding of what the law is, because I see a lot of people making like fairly common mistakes all the time. So just accept that offer from me if you're ever interested. You can also go to lawofficestudy.net if you want to learn about how to become a lawyer without law school. Now, let me see here. Let me take some of these comments really quick here. So here we go. Law is an art, and unfortunately, you have not been practicing since 2014. Okay, whatever you say, buddy. I thought I could help people too, and there were many people that I did help as a cop. However, I saw many other cops on my 600-man department abusing people, and I quit. Hey, look, thumbs up to you for quitting. People get taken down all the time. The good guys always get taken down, and they get portrayed as the bad guy. You saw what happened to Chief Eddie Gallagher, the Navy SEAL, right? He was set up. The FBI or the DOJ, whoever it was, the Judge Advocate General prosecutors, were literally tapping his private email communications. Then we just heard a few weeks ago a congressional report that our own government is spying on us, using our financial data to target Christians, gun owners, and people who support legal immigration. So just keep that in mind, that people on the good side of the coin are always portrayed as bad by the bad guys at some point or another. So let's take a look over here. I presume if the website was down, there won't be a billion emails. Maybe that's what it is. He shouldn't have been forced to surrender his property. Well, if the court believes that he's illegally recording, she could do that. And she has an enormous amount of power. So don't kid yourself. Now, this one says, Manuel like a 3-year-old. Okay, I don't know what that means. Illegal seizure of effects. Yeah, that's true. That could be deemed an illegal seizure. Let me see here. Lots of bootlickers on here. Citizens Broadcasting Cooperative. He should have brought his trifold to court. So I guess everybody, look, this isn't high school. I mean, somebody's in jail for 180 days and the evidence didn't support their conviction. That's what you should be concerned about. So I'm hoping that there's people on here. I don't want this to be about the cult of personality. I want this to be about having a discussion that's going to help us understand what happened so it doesn't happen to one of you. Because I care about all of you. I don't care what your politics are. If you're an American, you support the Constitution, I consider you to be one of me, and I don't want you to screw up. So Let's OTVO says Chille has helped so many. Look, and I agree. I think Chille has helped a lot of people. Now, a lot of people say he hasn't, but that sort of sidesteps the issue here. And the issue is that, well, here we go. Someone says they gave Chille an extra 30 days for contempt for not following the judge's orders. Give Chille an extra 30 days. Okay, Scott, right. But that's not what happened. So you can tell that it looked like the sentence was actually sort of a de facto contempt. That's what a lot of people are saying. But there was no contempt order given. What's interesting, if you watch the tape, the court says you need to apologize to the bailiff, but as far as I know, he never did. And she just kept on talking. He kept on talking, and the issue sort of went away. Put it in the comments if you think that the judge was treating this like contempt. Put it in the comments if you think that Chille apologized to the bailiff or the other officers who was calling a pig. I didn't see that part. I didn't hear that part. You see here, it's all bull trying to take his weapon on a petty claim. I don't know what that means. Let me see here. Oh, wait, you don't go to court anymore, which is not true. Let's see, the court is not hers. Okay, so Shockproof says she would have a position if the people... Okay, I get all that, but no. So the people, through the power, our sovereign power is the people. We elect representatives or we elect a judge directly into an office. And as part of that office, there are certain parts of the office that are recognized. And I know what you're saying. It's our court, and it is our court. It's the people, right? But no, she has authority to run her court so long as she does not abuse her discretion. Now, one of the things I disagree with, but I don't think it's ever going to change, is judges have sovereign immunity. It's not even qualified. So good luck suing a judge. And we have seen many corrupt judges working with like child protective services in foster homes or these for-pay prisons where they lock people up and get a kickback on people they lock up. That's why I'm not a big fan of public-private partnerships, by the way. I think it's a big mistake. But let's see here. So Chille had a tantrum and refused to give his phones. Actually, I didn't see that drive. I see that he tried to give his phone to the prosecutor and it was snatched out of his hand, which I consider to be a battery. But if you disagree, put it in the comments. It might be an illegal seizure, but it looks like she does have the power to take items from people during the course and scope of lawful proceedings. I still need to do some more research. If you're a law clerk or you're a paralegal, put it in the comments because I'd like to collaborate. Because believe it or not, I don't spend my whole day looking at Chille Decastro videos. I get people blowing up my channel saying, hey, can you help out and talk about this? And after looking at everything that went down, yeah, I do want to talk about it. So that's what we're going to do here. It says here, no snatching, Greg B. And then Big Oyo says, this is what we call this shit being railroaded. Look, there's a lot of people out there who agree with you, but there's equally as many people who disagree. But the problem is their disagreement seems to be based upon the fact that they don't like Chille as a person, or they don't like his background, or maybe they don't like me because I didn't go to the right ABA school. But what we want to talk about is the evidence. And the evidence showed at the very beginning of this is that Chille was backing up and he was in compliance. The cop just didn't like him. His ego got hurt. He effectuated a false arrest. The video evidence shows that Chille was in compliance and he was still convicted. So that's what I see. Put it in the comments if you disagree and tell me why. I'm going to go ahead and play some more of this for you guys. And by the way, let me know if you're getting bored or you want me to answer other questions, because the idea is I don't have Chille's personality. A little more, mellow.
He's a pig.
Excuse me?
I said he's a pig.
Okay. So I'm not going to permit you to speak to anybody in my courtroom in that manner. And if you don't want to apologize, I'm going to hold you in contempt.
I apologize to the court, Your Honor.
No, you can apologize to, they've done nothing to you.
Actually, Your Honor, when you were here, you came over and gave me a directive for no reason and started telling me what to do.
Okay, well,
I have all the respect and love for the court. I follow the rule of law all the time.
So let me just cut Chille off. I can tell Chille's nervous, but if it had been me, I would have said, well, Your Honor, I was angry. He just committed a battery against me, and you didn't call for him to be arrested because you saw it in your presence. He snatched the phone out of my hand, which is a battery. So yeah, I'm upset about that. I would have said that, but that didn't happen. So let's keep going. By the way, woulda, coulda, shoulda. Everyone's an armchair general. All right.
no, it is their job to maintain the safety and security of the court.
I agree with you, Your Honor.
So if you want to speak like that in my courtroom, I'm going to hold you in contempt. And if I hold you in contempt, you're going to jail. That is not my wish. Okay?
I wish you could.
All right. So I need you to empty your pockets too. Suit pocket, pants pocket.
So you can kind of see, honestly, everybody, that's pretty degrading. You can empty your pockets. It's almost like she's getting him ready to get him shackled up, right? Like, that's what it feels like to me. I would be very upset about that. I would feel like I'm not getting a fair hearing. This guy just snatched a phone out of my hand. Clearly they're hostile towards me. Yeah, I may come off like a dick, but I'm a journalist and I have a right to follow these guys around and film them. And I'm not interfering with their duties, and I'm staying far enough away. If they don't like the way I talk to them, tough luck. It's called the First Amendment. So that's the way I feel about it. Now, look, I'm a civil guy. I wouldn't do things the way he's doing it, but that's me. I'm not going to judge him for it. If you want to judge him, that's up to you, but don't throw him under the bus based upon the fact that you don't like him, because that's not justice. That is not justice. Let's keep watching.
This is illegal. This is a violation of my Fourth Amendment.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is. I don't have any recording devices on me. What are you talking about?
How about suit jacket?
I don't have anything on me. This is preposterous.
Okay, so I could see how the court would look at him as being sarcastic and facetious, and That would definitely get a judge angry. And remember, the judge is supposed to be the embodiment of a fair and neutral arbitrator of the state. And so what he's doing by talking to her like that is diminishing her value in the presence of a jury. And that definitely can make the government and the state look bad. So just keep in mind, I understand how she's thinking. So let's go ahead and watch a little bit more.
No, it's
It really
not.
is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Mr. Me, your phone too.
They're recording everything.
They have a media request.
Correct, and I'm not recording anything. Is it your guy here took my phone, so he's on his phone's not on it?
Well, I don't think her guy there took his phone. Her guy there snatched his phone. Remember, that's a battery unless an exception applies. And so I'm still waiting to see if anybody down here has any exceptions. They can show me. Let me see here. I know everybody wants to like email me clips about Chille and about his mom and all these things. Look, guys, okay, I know you don't, there's a lot of people here who don't like him. I'm not censoring the comments, so you're going to see probably more than normal. But listen, a guy got, in my opinion, falsely arrested, falsely accused, and I'm showing you the evidence as to why. I don't care if this guy is Joseph Goebbels, right? As a lawyer, it's my job to defend him. I think it was John Adams. He defended the Redcoats after they gunned down a bunch of citizens. Was it Virginia? What state was it? Anyways, the Redcoats gunned a bunch of people down. I think it was the shot heard around the world. Not totally. I can't totally remember. But John Adams defended the Redcoats and he got them off. That's it, right? So you guys need to think like that. Don't be children here. There's somebody who's in jail who may be in there wrongly based upon an emotion-based and an emotionally driven political scheme that wasn't based upon lawfulness. And so that's what we're here to talk about. So let me go. I'm going to show you some more of the video here.
Make sure you can take the lawyer's phone too?
No, I'm not going to take the lawyer's phone. He's an officer of the court.
Calling a cop a pig in a courtroom is not advisable when you're standing before a black-robed agent of the state who's already exhibiting signs of extreme bias against Chille and his YouTube channel. The court marshal clearly didn't have to grab the phones out of Chille's hand in that manner. From the start, the deck is already stacked against DeleteLawz. As we've seen many times before in countless videos, when the fragile egos of authoritarians are damaged, any semblance of rationality and fairness evaporates. They are now no longer psychologically able to stay on the task of judging by objective law. They are now governed by their frail emotions. This is why Chille's in this situation to begin with. He damaged the unstable emotions of Officer Brandon Bork during his traffic stop. So let's review why Chille's here.
You good? Why'd they say that you were pulled over?
Before he released.
Oh, I see.
Like, what a jet.
Oh, I see. Oh, gotcha.
You can tell me you need to stay away from my driver. Back up. Back up.
So you can see him back it up.
You're going to detain me how? In which way?
Get away from my car.
Actually, I'm standing right here. I'm at least 10 feet away, officer. I got to tell you, I'm a constitutional law scholar. You can do whatever you want, but just understand something. Your name will go on the lawsuit. Mind your own business. Mind your own business. I'm a member of the press. Go get in your car and do your job, little doggy. Go feed her.
You're being detained right now.
Okay, then detain me. Oh, you're going to detain a journalist? 2015, Rodriguez.
Over my car.
Don't put your hands on me.
Come over.
Don't touch me. Don't put your fucking hands on me. You know, you're not. I gotta make sure. Hey guys, make sure you guys get my people on the phone.
All right, so you kind of see that. You can kind of see it's the words. You know, Chille, that's just how he is. And in the Marine Corps, I had a lot of guys like that, you know, typical blue collar type guys who are just like that. Not everyone's civil. Not everybody comes off the same way. So I can see that that's how he is. He gets lit up. The cop got lit up, but you can see Chille was backing up, as well as from the initial videos. You can see that he was backing up. Now the whole thing, everybody, threatening with lawsuits and all that, probably not a good idea. It looks bad to a jury when you actually file a lawsuit too. So you always want to be evenly killed as best as you can. If you're ever going to be approaching or dealing with law enforcement, they do have a tough job. I get it. And you have a tough job too, paying taxes and working every day and dealing with illegal aliens flooding across the border. So you got a tough job too. We all have a tough job. So let's look at it this way. Try and be civil as much as you can. And in this case, let's try and give Chille the benefit of the doubt. And let's sort of look at the way this is being narrated by Here's the Deal. I think he did a great job. And put it in the comments, what do you think? And I encourage everybody to add Here's the Deal, like to subscribe to his channel. I think the guy's pretty cool. I've been checking him out. Anyway, here we go.
Oh, so you ended the stop, you dunce cap. Did you just end the stop? So that's
Yes.
a 2015
Over here in my car.
No.
Over here.
No.
Need an additional unit.
Bring your supervisor, please. Bring your supervisor, please. Don't touch
Over
me.
to the car.
You don't get to put your hands on me. Don't grab me. Don't grab me. You're not.
Okay. So we all kind of saw that. So in my mind, in my opinion, the cop was out of line. Chille didn't do anything wrong. He's exercising his First Amendment right to film. That's it. And he also did back up, even though I don't believe he was under any constitutional or lawful duty to do so. And I don't believe there is a law about officers that says officer safety trumps the Constitution. But I do know that is a very common misconception apparently held in many judicial districts across the nation. But I also understand that there's more to it than that. I understand that judicial officers and law enforcement officers often are friends. They have a connection. They're kindred spirits in many ways. Many judges were prosecutors already in the past. Not too many public defenders become judges compared to prosecutors who become judges. So there's sort of that mentality that goes on. But knowing that, as I do, I would never go in there and try to inflame a cop or a judge. And also it looks bad to a jury, because when you have a situation where it comes up for the actual deliberations in a civil case, the jury, they're going to get their jury instructions. They're going to ask questions back and forth to the judge. I've seen cases where the jury doesn't like the plaintiff. They just don't like them. And they'll find liability and award $1. I mean, come on, you don't want to get $1. You just want to do your thing. Now, also this thing about being a journalist, show me your credentials, or this thing about, oh, you didn't go to the right law school, show me your credentials. So that is something that was started by the Rockefeller family prior to the regular education system in our country. Our children were taught classical education. But what happened was after Napoleon kicked the crap out of the Prussians instituted this public education system that was designed to breed a bunch of drones who would like a military encampment or a jail, where people become used to a bell ringing, sitting in a uniform manner, going in a uniform way to do things. And we lost touch with the original sort of Knights Templar Masonic way of doing things, where you trained and studied under someone, and you had your tutelage that way. You had mentors, and you worked with a group of people or in a guild usually, and that's how you received your education. So everybody, you don't have to go to a journalist school. I mean, any kind of government run school is going to be basically government run. You're going to get a government point of view. And unfortunately, our government is largely controlled by large corporations. I used to lobby Congress on behalf of cruise ship victims. I can tell you without a doubt that it's whoever can give you the biggest campaign donation. That's the guy who's going to get his laws passed that support what he wants. By the way, Big Pharma, guess what, guys? They're immune from liability for their own negligence. It's the most craziest thing that I've ever seen or heard of in my life. Look it up. If you don't believe me, put it in the comments. Tell me you don't believe me. Okay, so let's see what we got going on here. All right, we got someone saying, they're saying that Greg B never timed anybody else. So, look, there's a lot of people arguing over stuff that I'm not really I'm not understanding. We're here to talk about why a guy is in jail for no reason. So let's talk about that. Let's keep watching.
First, get your supervisor out here. You're not just going to grab me and throw me on the ground. You've already released you've already released her. This is 2015 Rodriguez versus United States. I'll walk right in front of your car. Let's go. Sure, come on.
So you see he's complying.
No. I'm a constitutional law scholar. You can't take away my phone.
Down on
I'm now in
You're being detained. Now you're going to put hands on me.
No,
Come over here.
Why are you grabbing me? Come over here.
Okay, so you kind of see that. So one of the things I know about the academy is they train you to say things, right? Like, hey, stop coming close to me, or stop resisting as they're punching you in the face and you got your hands tied behind your back. So that's a pretty common thing that goes on with the academy training. It's pretty well known. Let's see here. A way with words, yet he always gets humiliated. And okay, so yeah, guys, everybody's like putting this guy down, saying bad stuff about him personally, but where's the stuff about, hey, did you see the evidence there that the guy walked back? Hey, did you see that he was agreeing to go with the officer? And by the way, show me the law that says he has to put his phone down on the car. All right. Being detained doesn't give the officer the right to do that, as far as I know. Now, put it in the comments if you disagree. Again, I'm only licensed to practice law in California and Texas. So I don't know if Nevada's different. They may have something going on here that's different. But put it in the comments if you know. I'd like to know. I was in the USN. If I could extra duty, you could get extra. Yeah, you definitely could get extra duty for disrespecting superiors. Thank God judges aren't your superiors, for Chille's sake. So Brian calls the balls and strikes. Let's OTV. Okay, let me go here. Let's see. It says here there's absolutely no transparency. Okay, that doesn't help us. It says here, I think here's the deal is, okay, I don't know about that. I don't consider wishing cancer on people. Okay, guys, is there anybody who wants to talk about the facts of the case and what actually happened? Because I see like one faction that hates Chille in the in the comments, and they're all trashing Chille and talking trash on him. And I see the other side, say, hey, that guy's a pig, which is at least talking about the case, right? At least Bob the gamer is talking about the case. That's a good thing. So let's see what else we can see here.
Sure.
Now Officer Bork takes the stand, preliminary questions are asked, and this is the relevant part of his testimony.
Initially, when I saw him, he was just reporting. I ignored him, continued my records check. Then when he came over to the driver and started speaking with him, I got out of the car, approached the driver, and told Decastro to back up.
When you first laid eyes on the defendant, approximately how far away was he from the driver of the vehicle in the Hyundai?
Approximately somewhere within 5 to 10 feet.
Okay.
Well, hold on a minute. Guys, I mean, that's clearly a perjurious statement. You can tell by the video, he looked like he was at least 12 feet away, and he was going back. If you disagree with that, put it in the comments. To me, what that officer said on the stand was untruthful. And I think that the court could have taken judicial notice of that. I don't even think an expert witness is required, because there's certain facts that are judicially noticeable. Basically, things that are common sense are judicially noticeable, things like that. Let's take a look at some more of this here.
And you indicated that he was reporting?
Yes.
Okay. What did you see that led you to believe he was reporting?
He had his cell phone camera pointed directly at me.
Okay. And so is that when, upon seeing him being that close to the driver, is that when you told him, you walked up to the driver of the stopped vehicle and asked Mr. Decastro to back up?
Yes, once he started talking with the driver.
Okay. And why is it that you did that, officer?
Well, I can't have unrelated people next to my traffic stops. I don't know if he's a dangerous person, armed. He could be a boyfriend of the stopped person. It's for my safety and the safety of the person I've stopped.
Okay. Because you're also in charge of the safety of the individual that is unrelated individuals making contact with. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
And so you saw it as an officer safety issue as well as a safety issue for the driver.
Yes.
Okay. And so when you approached, well, you said he was recording, the defendant was recording. At any time, did you tell him to stop recording?
No, in fact, I told him he can continue recording.
Okay. He can continue to record given what? So
As long as he backed up and gave him an appropriate.
Okay, there you go. So as long as he backed up, and that's what he did. But then what happened, and we'll have to go back and look at it again, everybody. But what happened, Chille, popped off to the guy and pissed the guy off. I'm looking at the officer's ribbons. I'm not totally sure, but maybe he's prior military. That could even be a Purple Heart. I don't know. Put it in the comments. I'm seeing what looks to be purple with two white white stripes going across it there. Not sure what that is. I don't see a combat action ribbon. So I'm not really quite sure what that's all about. It could be Army, could be a chair force guy. Anyways, let me get back over here. Let's watch some more of this.
Okay. And so when you asked the defendant to back up, did he follow your order?
No, he did not.
We're going to come back to this because this is a lie that can be clearly demonstrated.
And so what did you do next?
I gave him 3 additional warnings to back up.
Okay. And did he obey those orders?
No, he did not.
This is another lie.
And what, if anything, did you do with the driver of the stopped vehicle?
And by the way, put it in the comments if you think the officer is lying, if he's being coached to lie, or if he just genuinely thinks he's telling the truth.
At that point, I chose to release the driver of the Hyundai and then focus my attention on Chille Decastro.
And subsequently, did you turn your attention on the defendant?
Yes.
And can you tell Judge Zimmerman the nature of your interaction with the defendant after that?
I ordered Decastro to the front of my patrol vehicle while pointing at it and told him that he was detained.
Okay. And what was the purpose of detaining him?
For obstructing my initial traffic stop at the Hyundai.
Okay. And did he obey your lawful order?
No, he did not.
When they get to this point where the prosecution brings her laptop up to the stand to show Bork's body cam footage, they have serious problems with the audio feedback, which is, in my opinion, unacceptable and ridiculous.
Well, here's what's even more ridiculous about it. And I don't know the full facts here. I'm hoping that Let's OTVO can kind of help me out. By the way, everybody put OTVO in the sidebar because we got to keep the dream of getting Chille out alive. Overturn Terry versus Ohio. All right. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Why wasn't Chille's video entered into evidence? What's going on? How is that not authenticatable evidence? Why is it there? I mean, clearly the audio was much better. I don't know. Let's watch some more. Let's see what's going on here.
For the sake of clarity and focus, they should have a system that anybody can easily plug into so that they can make a case without unnecessary technical difficulties. I'm going to overlay what the court played with DeleteLawz recording of the incident, and then we'll break it down.
So guys, I really like this guy. I mean, what he's doing is what a real lawyer would do. And so far, what I've seen, there's a few things that we don't see eye to eye on, but nothing major, just because I have a little bit deeper understanding of certain things. But this guy is a street lawyer, man. What I'm seeing here, this is legit. Look at what he's going to do right now. And you tell me, and I'll tell you something, this is why I think people who are blue collar guys should pursue law. You guys would make way better lawyers than some academic who's never experienced real life. People that spend time in academic institutions believe whatever the government tells them. That's how it really works. And again, these are politicians who are being paid by big corporations. And then in turn, they want to tell you what to think because they own all the news media outlets. So when you get a blue collar guy who's got common sense, they see through that. Whereas an academic just takes it for granted that that's reality. But let's watch this, guys. Tell me what you think. I think this guy's great.
You good? Why'd they say that you were pulled over? Oh, I see. Oh, I see. Oh, gotcha. You're gonna detain me how? In which way?
Back it up, guys.
Actually, I'm standing right here. I'm at least 10 feet away, officer.
At least
I gotta
10
tell you,
feet.
I'm a constitutional law scholar. You can do whatever you want, but just understand something.
Guys, he's at least 10 feet away. And you know he's not a threat. And by the way, all these Las Vegas cops already know who he is. Okay? I'm just surprised that didn't even come out, right? Like, how could that not have come out during testimony? This cop already knows who Chille is. Put it in the comments if you think that that's weird, that that wasn't part of the testimony.
Mind your own business. Mind your own business. I'm a member of the press. Go give me your car and do your job for the dog. Go feed her.
Backing up.
You're gonna continue journalism? 2015, Ramifications. Don't put your hands on me. Don't touch me. Don't put your fucking hands on me.
So, guys, I mean, honestly, the guy, he's standing at least, I would say 12 feet away, to be fair. And he's backing up and he's trying to film the cop because he's trying to protect himself because he's already been manhandled by cops. And we know that cops will manhandle you. Some of them will and violate your rights. And so that's the whole point of filming. And so he's doing what he can to make sure that you see that he's not presenting a threat and that he's filming everything. And then all of a sudden the cop comes and comes to the threat, right? If he's a threat, why would he approach him at all? Clearly he's not a threat. Clearly he's filming. Clearly he's performing a First Amendment protected activity. That's how, if I was a court or a judge, I would approach this case, regardless of any personality conflict that I have with this guy, right? That's just the way that I would handle it. Put it in the comments if you think differently.
Oh, you're not. This is so you ended the stop, you dunce cap. Did you just end the stop? So that's a 2015 case. No. Bring your supervisor, please. Bring your supervisor, please. Don't touch me. You don't get to put your hands on me. Don't grab me. Don't grab me. You're not. First get your supervisor out here. You're not just going to grab me and throw me on the ground. You've already released them. This is 2015, Rodriguez versus United States. You're walking. I'll walk right in front of your car. Let's go. Sure, come on. No. I'm a constitutional law scholar. You can't take away my phone. I'm now.
Now you're gonna put hands on me.
No. Why are you grabbing me? Sure.
So guys, we can see what the goal is of the officer. He wants to get that camera away from Chille. I mean, that's what I'm seeing as a defense attorney. It's pretty obvious that he's trying to take the camera away from Chille. That's the mission. And that's how look, officers don't like being recorded. They say, hey, I got my camera. You don't have to worry about me recording you. You know, I'm already recording you, so you don't need to record. But we know that stuff gets erased over, especially if it makes the officer look bad. At least sometimes it does. And that's why we have a First Amendment. But you see in a push, in California, for example, Gavin Newsom just put this new law into place where now the state gets to decide what disinformation is. In other words, Newsom's buddies over at Meta, and we already know about their BS fact check labels where they'll check a fact that's not even presented in the article and then say it's false and then use that as a basis to ban you. And we know they put into place the social credit system now in China and Canada, and they're trying to do it here. The left in California really desperately wants that so they can shut down your bank account or hold on to your money, prevent you from exercising free speech. If you say something wrong, you say something that they think is false, they're going to ban you and they're going to cancel you. And that's what's going on in California. So I say more cameras, the better. Put it in the comments if you disagree with me and think that like I'm anti-government. Put it in the comments if you think that the First Amendment hamstrings the government and you think that that's wrong, because then I'll kind of know where you're coming from. But anyways, let's just watch a little bit more and see what happened.
So the cop's testimony is that Chille didn't step back.
When you asked the defendant to back up, did he follow your order?
No, he did not.
Let's take a look at this clip. When the cop walks away from his cruiser toward the driver, Chille is clearly standing with his right foot inside the white line and his left foot on the white line. He backed up, beginning with his right foot, then his left. He's clearly 2 or 3 feet back from where he was initially standing before.
Boom. Okay, so that's it right there, guys. I don't understand why this wasn't the center point of the defense, right? Because clearly the officer's not being truthful. But even what's even more clear is based on the body cam footage alone, is the court could see that Chille was backing up, and so could the prosecutor. My guess is that's probably why the prosecutor was only going for like a 90-day straight. Probably realized it was a weak case. I mean, honestly, I think on appeal he'll win on the facts. I really do. You can hate his guts, guys, but it's true. Watch this video and tell me if you think I'm crazy. I mean, put it in the comments if you think I'm crazy. All right, let's watch.
Being told to back up. The left image is where Chille was standing before being told to back up, and the right image is where he was standing after he was told to back up. Now, the cop says he didn't back up at all.
When you asked the defendant to back up, did he follow your order?
No, he did not.
Okay, well, we can see that that's not true. All right, that's clearly false. He did back up. But here's the thing, guys, for all you purists, I don't think he had a legal duty to back up. I think what happened is he pissed off the cop, and the cop wanted to get revenge, and so he came after Chille. Chille wasn't presenting a threat. He wasn't resisting, obstructing, or delaying any kind of official duty of anybody, any vague and ambiguous official duty. And law enforcement aren't superheroes, and they shouldn't be treated with this undue deference either. So, you know, let's watch a little bit more. You tell me what you think.
The camera says he did. Cops lie, cameras don't. The judge should have thrown the case out on this alone. Assuming Chille's shoe size is close to a foot, it seems obvious that he's at least 3 feet back from where he was initially standing. In my estimation, he was 10 to 15 feet away from the driver's.
Bingo. I got to tell you guys something. This guy is good. I mean, honestly. Hey, man, if you ever want to work as a law clerk or something, give me a call. Here's the deal. Reach out to me. Here's the deal, because I'm really impressed with what you did there. I mean, that was absolutely brilliant. That's his appeal right there. Now, if this stuff wasn't argued, his only adequate appeal would be inadequate assistance of counsel, I think. Put it in the comments if you think there's another way out of this based upon that argument. Let's go back and watch this brilliant piece of lawyering by Here's the Deal.
Side door after being told to step back. During the cross-examination, attorney Michael Mee asked Bork this question.
How many feet did you order the defendant to back up specifically?
I never had an opportunity to give him an exact distance.
How far back did you intend to have him back up? You didn't even express that.
In the background of the video, you could see that there was a parked semi-truck and a light pole. I would have directed him somewhere in that area, which would have been outside the 21 feet.
Your testimony is you never told him an exact distance to back up, correct?
Yes, he never allowed me to.
What do you mean?
So you kind of see that the bantering back and forth. They're arguing over the distance, which I don't think is, I mean, it's a safe distance. Chille's not presenting a threat. He's got, you look at the guy, you can tell he's not a threat. He's got his cameras, but there's a dispute over whether it's 15 or 20 feet. I mean, put it in the comments if you think that that's superfluous and irrelevant. Let's watch the rest of this.
Never allowed you to.
I asked him to back up, and he continued arguing with me, so I can never specify exact distance.
But you had time to give him 5 commands to back up, is that correct?
Yes.
Your testimony is he never backed up when you were giving him commands, is that correct?
If he backed up, it may have been inches, but he didn't substantially back up.
Well, what do you guys think? In my opinion, that is a false statement. It's obvious that he backed up at least 3 feet. I mean, you've got a non-lawyer this guy over here, here's the deal. He sees it all clear as day, lays it out, and case dismissed. I mean, that's it. That's it. That's it. That's the case. Now, put it in the comments if you disagree, or put it in the comments if you think not liking someone or the sins of their past should factor in to a conviction in the future based on false allegations, if you think that that's okay. So I'm trying to almost teach a lesson here to some of you guys. I get it. A lot of you guys can't stand this guy, but you guys should all join forces when any of your fellow Americans is falsely convicted. We clearly can see that testimony did not match the record of facts. And I'm not going to call the cop a liar because he might be under stress. He might be being pressured to doing this, to making these statements. We don't know what's going on. A lot of people want to take Chille out, but is that a valid reason to do what just took place? Let's watch a little bit more here and you tell me.
At this point, the attorney should have said, hey, this witness is lying, Your Honor. He's claiming that my client didn't allow him to state exactly how far he wanted him to back up, yet he could tell him to back up 4 or 5 times. He also claimed twice that my client didn't back up at all.
When you asked the defendant to back up, did he follow your order?
No, he did not. I gave him 3 additional warnings to back up.
Okay, and did he obey those orders?
No, he did not.
This witness has clearly discredited himself on the stand, Your Honor, and I have proof that my client did exactly what he was instructed to do, even though there's no law stating how far one must be away from a traffic stop. Nor was my client told how far he must back up. So the defense attorney keeps pressing forward with this.
And you just reviewed the body-worn camera from your chest, is that correct?
Yes,
Okay. You didn't notice him backing up every time you directed him to back up?
he did not back up.
So you backed up 0 feet, in your opinion? Based on that
Not
video?
0 feet.
What was that?
He didn't back up 0 feet. He was moving his feet. As to exactly how far he moved back, I don't know, but it wasn't substantial.
What would have been substantial in your opinion? Or what do you mean by that?
I would have guided him if he wasn't arguing with me back toward the light pole and the park semi-truck.
And
Would have been outside of the 21 feet. That was my goal.
So in your opinion, you have the ability, or you would in any traffic stop, ask somebody to look back 21 feet, is that correct?
Yes, for our training.
And
So-
what was that?
So the officer is saying that, I guess somewhere in their training manual, it says to back up 21 feet. Put it in the comments if you know that's true. I'm not sure that that's true. I don't know of any court case that says 21 feet either. And you also have to remember, when you're engaged in a First Amendment protected activity, you don't have to show a journalism credential for that. You're engaged in a First Amendment protected activity. So just remember that, guys. The way you do it, just watch this.
Training.
That while we're conducting lawful activity, we're allowed a reasonable distance to conduct our activity.
But where do you get that 21 feet number from specifically?
That's taught to us in the academy. It's based on reaction time, normal human reaction time to a threat.
So your position is anytime you're engaged in any law enforcement activity, you would create a 21 feet perimeter?
Not necessarily. It depends on other environmental factors such as obstacles and barriers.
So your testimony is that every time you conduct a traffic stop, as long as there's no barriers, you would order a pedestrian to back up 21 feet, is that correct?
I would, yes.
The bottom line is, number one, Chille was told to back up, and he did. Number two, the cop lied and said that he didn't back up. Then he said he did back up, and then he said again that he didn't back up. Number three, there is no 21-foot law or any law specifying the distance one must stand away from a cop.
Ta-da! I mean, this guy's good. He really, he is. That was a beautiful closing statement. Look, if you guys are getting bored, we can do the rest of this tomorrow. I'm just hoping that there's people here that are looking at this and realizing that, in my opinion, he got railroaded. And look, I'm all for a lawful conviction, but based on the facts here, there's no way. he did everything that he was supposed to do, other than maybe he was a dick, right? I get it, but that's not a basis to do that. Put it in the comments if you think that. Michael is much, well, Marine is always spelled with an uppercase M. Hoorah. All right. So, but I appreciate that. He's in Clark County Jail. Look him up, send him some money so he can buy commissary. Hey, you know what? That's the kind of stuff I like hearing. All right. Look, guys, I don't know how many of you guys have been to jail, but it's terrible. And you get treated like whale shit. And not everybody who's in jail should be there. So just remember that. And that could be your mother, that could be your father, that could be your brother, that could be your sister. And when we know that there's private companies building prisons, cutting deals with corrupt judges and corrupt law enforcement officials, we know that that's happened. Everybody needs to be concerned about that. This isn't like a one person versus another thing. There's cops that are in jail too. This is affecting them. So let's watch the rest of this with me. And tell me if you're getting bored, because I don't want to bore you.
At a traffic stop. Therefore, no lawful order was given, and therefore, no obstruction occurred and no lawful arrest was made. What we have on camera is an attack by a man in a costume who was butthurt that he was told to mind his own business and was called a little doggy by a man holding a camera and exercising his press and speech rights. So now the cop leaves the stand, Chille enters the stand, and here are some of those highlights.
Yes, I do have I do have a YouTube channel, and the reason I have a YouTube channel is because of how many cops kill people every year, how many cops hurt, maim, torture, rape, and kill people every single year. It's such an epidemic that the rest of the world, I get thousands of emails saying, only in America does this happen. I started filming cops because when I was cheated in 2002.
Objection at this point, relevance.
Well, this is the British Freedom member of the press.
This narrative.
So can you ask him a question?
Yes, Your Honor. What type of films do you make for your YouTube channel?
I only film police in their official capacity. I'm known across the country and across the world.
And why do you engage in that type of filming?
So I'm gonna ask you, Mr. Need to direct your questions about the incident in question.
I was filming that cop because that's what I do for a living. I am a member of the press, and I invoked my right to be press. I always invoke my right to be press within the first 10 seconds of engaging with police, and I have thousands of videos that prove this.
Do you recall the officer telling you to back up?
Yes, I do.
So here's the deal. The officer is inconsistent. Chille's invoking a First Amendment protected activity right. He's saying, hey, I'm engaged in a First Amendment protected activity. The officer says, back up anyways. He backs up, cusses at the officer. The officer gets offended, comes and wants to put him in handcuffs, chases him around. And that is how this resisting and obstructing type charge was issued. I believe that it was an unlawful prior restraint. I believe that he has a valid appeal here just based on the evidence. The problem is, here's the deal, point something out. If it wasn't argued by counsel, it may not be an appealable issue unless it's raised through ineffective assistance of counsel. And I'm not really sure how that's going to go down because, again, I'm not a Nevada lawyer. I'm only licensed to practice law in California and Texas. I've been an active member of the bar in California since 2005. And I just recently got admitted into the Texas bar. So I'm not totally sure about Texas on that one. But I know in California, they don't teach you to stay 21 feet away at the police academy. My buddies who just got out of the sheriff's academy told me they taught 10 feet. So I'm trying to figure that out too. But I don't think there's any law that says 21 feet. If it's a policy, that's one thing. But it was never really an issue at that particular stop or arrest. Okay, let's keep watching.
And what did you do after he told you to back up?
I took a couple steps back. I just showed him that I was willing to back up a little bit. However, if I may, in Arizona, they created a 10-foot law.
Objection, relevance. We're not in Arizona. It's the state of Nevada.
So I'm gonna allow it because I think that goes to why he kept saying 10 feet in the video, even though, I will take judicial notice that you're not in the state of Arizona, you're in the state of Nevada.
Well, federal judge.
Okay, well, that was interesting. So it kind of looked cool that the court was going to take judicial notice about him thinking that 10 feet was a safe distance. But then the 21 feet thing comes up, and I'm still trying to find a case law that talks about 21 feet being some kind of Supreme Court rule. I can't find it. If you know about this 21 feet rule that's some kind of law, put it in the comments because I'd like to know about it. Let's keep on watching this.
Judge struck it down, Your Honor, and
Stop. Can you ask more questions?
Yes, Your Honor. Approximately how many feet did you back up?
I backed up a foot or two. I was at least 10 feet away from that car that the driver was pulled over in.
Did the officer ever give you a specific distance to back up to?
No, he didn't.
If he did, would you comply with that?
Sure,
Did you believe you were complying with the officer's commands?
100%. I also informed him I'm a member of the press. I'm a constitutional law scholar, that this is what I do.
Do you recall him explaining why he decided to detain you before he arrested you?
He decided to obtain me because he said I was obstructing, which from my understanding is a physical act where I would have to get in the way. He said that the driver deserves privacy. I believe my First Amendment rights are not up for feelings. I think from the officer's testimony, we can see that he's scared of the driver, scared of me, scared of everything. They teach them to be afraid of everything. So I had 2 cameras out. It's identified as a member of the press. I'm sorry, repeat the question. I want to get it specific for the record.
Sure. The question was, did the officer explain to you that the basis of your detention was because of you not backing up or because of the privacy issue of the driver?
It was both. He said that, he told me to back up. I backed up a little bit. Then he said, she deserves privacy. And then I told him to go get in your car, little doggy, and write your ticket. And at that point, his face turned bead red and his veins in his neck stuck out.
Right. So we could all kind of see from the actual evidence that would be used to convict somebody that Chille was actually complying with what I think was an unlawful command. He was not anywhere within a danger zone. And even if he was, officer safety is not a law that trumps the Constitution. Some people might say that it wasn't an unlawful prior restraint, but we know that the officer was constantly trying to get Chille to put his camera on the car and trying to get him to put his phone down. So we know that the officer didn't like being recorded, but more than anything, he just didn't like the way that Chille was talking to him, which makes perfectly good sense. I'm going to be honest with you. If somebody talked to me like that out in public, I probably would want to throw down, you know, I'm not going to lie. Probably most of you lawyers wouldn't, because most of you guys that I've met are jellyfish, but let's keep on going here.
We were over 20 feet away and you had to holler to hear each other because the wind was probably 30 miles an hour.
After Chille leaves the stand, the prosecuting attorney says this.
Your Honor, the state asks you to find the defendant guilty of both the obstructing a public officer as well as resisting a public officer charge against him. The video very adequately portrays, and I don't think it's disputed by the defendant, what the context was of the interaction with the officer. I would venture to say that had the defendant just complied with the original order to not engage with the driver and to back up, we wouldn't be here. He wouldn't have found himself further engaging with Officer Moore.
See, the problem is the video shows that he did both of these things. He stopped engaging with the driver and he backed up, and the cop lied. So
I mean, that's pretty much it, guys. In a nutshell, the evidence was untruthful. At least it wasn't true. You know, I can't put myself in the officer's state of mind. Now, Paul Katranok says that he's not a lawyer or an American, but he knows more than me. Hey, look, put it in the comments if you think that following commands that you shouldn't even have to follow and still getting arrested, tell me why you think that should be lawful. Is it because you don't like Chille as a person? Or is it because of some law that you know about? I'd love to hear about it. Maybe it's in English. If you're from England, maybe it's English common law. That might have some bearing. It could be a quasi-American common law might have some relevance here. But I'd like to know more about it from you. I'd love to hear what you have to say.
She rambles on for another 4 minutes, and then the defense makes his closing statement.
So first of all, you cannot obstruct an unlawful order. I disagree with the state that this is not a First Amendment issue. The First Amendment in this context actually has two parts. There's the filming and the right to film within a reasonable distance. The case law in all the federal circuits, Your Honor, there's no 21 feet rule that's been approved by any court of which I'm aware. That there is a 10-foot rule. That seems to be the rule that is applied by most of the federal circuits in interpreting the First Amendment.
Yeah, and the 10-foot rule is what most law enforcement police academies teach as well, at least in California and in Texas. I'm not really sure about other jurisdictions, but he's right about that. So I'm going to keep on playing.
I submitted a bench brief that kind of goes through that issue. If the court's had a chance to review that.
I don't have that. When did you submit it?
It was submitted yesterday, Your Honor.
I mean, at this point, I would move to strike because it's untimely, but I got it this morning when I walked into court.
Go ahead.
So just really quick here, I just want to address something Melania has to say here. She's saying that the attorney stood there with arms crossed while giving his refute closing, which appears hostile. I look at it a little bit different. It's pretty common to stand with your arms crossed as a lawyer and kind of do this kind of stuff. It's pretty common. It would be more based on your tone of voice and the way your body's moving around, in my opinion, to see, arms crossed alone, especially in a closing argument. That's very, very common. Some of the best trial lawyers I've ever met have done that, but I appreciate your comment. And this is the reason why I wanted to have this hangout with you guys, was not to argue about how terrible Chille is or about how great you guys are, but to talk about the evidence and the facts from a sort of a quasi-neutral point of view. I mean, I care about everybody. I don't want anybody to be thrown in jail for an unjust reason. So let's keep watching this.
So the officer's testimony that there's essentially this 21-foot distance where anybody can charge an officer and cause physical harm to an officer, if that is applied universally, Your Honor, it totally diminishes and violates the First Amendment. That is, as the officer testified, a 21-foot radius that he can attempt to impose. I believe his testimony was anytime there's not an obstacle between a person and somebody that law enforcement is interacting with. And that's just not what the law requires, Your Honor. The First Amendment gives their media, new media, old media, it gives individuals the right to film government agents. There's no dispute that that's the requirement. And if the officer is applying this 21-foot circumference to all law enforcement interactions, he's effectively eliminated the ability.
So honestly, I think that this argument's going off the beaten path. I don't care about a 21-foot rule. I don't care if the officer wants to argue it. I'm sort of shocked that the court even seems to entertain it. Chille was backing up. Then the officer pursued him. That should have been enough to see that it was an unlawful arrest. He didn't do anything wrong. And obstruction is a physical interference. It's a physical thing. Chille never physically got in anyone's way. It's just quasi pseudo weird law. It doesn't make sense. It's sounds like something the administrative state would come up with to keep people under control who they don't maybe they agree with too much. But really quick, I want to talk about, so Pants, I guess Umbrella Pants, says, if I consider put your hands up to be an unlawful order, I don't have to follow it. Yeah. Well, based upon the case law that I've read, no, you don't. So when your family members are suing the police officer for wrongful death, it'll be entered into the record, of course, when they shot you for not raising your hands, right? That it was an unlawful order. Problem is you'll be dead. But yes, you can be unlawfully ordered to arrest your hands all day long. It happens all the time. Civil rights lawsuits all the time, and they win on that. False imprisonment, all that stuff. Cops get sued and they lose. So yeah, absolutely. It's an unlawful order sometimes, but if you don't comply, you might be dead. So, hey, at least your family member will get some money. That's kind of how that works. So let me go on over here and watch this some more.
Law enforcement going about their duties. The commands to not talk to the driver are also not based on any actual legal justification. There's no right to privacy in public, whether you're engaged with law enforcement or not. There's no requirement or no statute, no law that citizens can't interact with drivers that are interacting with law enforcement. So what's taken place here, Your Honor, is that this officer has taken it upon himself to essentially act as the legislature and created these rules that have no basis in any law, and in fact are contrary to the First Amendment.
So, yeah, I gotta say, I agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. The problem here is like this comment by Pence. He's got to have some undiagnosed mental disorder. That has to be the only answer. I don't know if you're referring to me or him. I mean, I'm sure I have plenty of undiagnosed mental disorders. Have to be crazy to do half the stuff I've done in this world. But I don't think that that's the case. And I think a lot of people have undiagnosed mental disorders. But I think that's irrelevant too. It's kind of funny. But if he does have an undiagnosed mental disorder, is that a reason to throw him in jail for 180 days? And then I see these other comments, guys hope that Chille's going to get, manhandled and, hurt in prison. And you're happy about that. And I'm just kind of in shock because we're all Americans, and we make mistakes sometimes. Sometimes we do things wrong, but unjust is unjust. Unjust is unjust. And remember, it could happen to you. This could be one of your family members. Remember that. It could be one of your family members with a mental disorder. So just think about that. I mean, have some passion and some compassion. Don't just throw people under the bus because you don't like them personally. You know what I'm saying? It's unsat, uncool. Here, let's watch this.
Again, you can't obstruct an unlawful demand. So there is no obstruction of justice here. Resisting arrest, Your Honor. The court can see the video. Essentially what happened is he walked over to the front of the vehicle. There was some dispute about why he was being detained. That was discussed. The case law in that area, Your Honor, is that if it's an unlawful arrest, which it was in this case because they're essentially arresting him for violating these unlawful orders that they're pronouncing. Again, the case law is you can passively resist an unlawful arrest, and that's all that occurred in the case. Thank you.
I personally think that was a pitiful attempt at defending freedoms and proving innocence. He simply could have constructed a bulletproof defense with bullet points. Fact, the cop lied. He said my client didn't back up when he clearly did. The prosecution says we wouldn't be here if my client had obeyed the commands to back up and stop talking to the driver. Your Honor, my client clearly complied with both of these commands. So what's the problem? And I agree, we shouldn't be here. The video evidence proves my client is innocent.
True.
And if anyone should be on trial today, it should be the law enforcer who attacked my client because he got his feelings hurt for being called a little doggy and was told to mind his own business. The fact is, Your Honor, this is supposed to be a court of law, not a court of feelings. My client broke no law. No lawful command was given. No victim was created. No crime was committed. There was no obstruction, and the arrest was a false one that should have been resisted. Your Honor, you simply can't have a lawful order when there's no law backing the order. Lawful order means any order, directive, policy, or instruction given by an authoritative source or given to ensure compliance with federal, state, or local law, which may be conveyed verbally or in writing. There was no law conveyed. But because the judge cares more about her feelings than any kind of law, and because she feels like officer safety trumps American rights, and because she endorses roadside extortion through traffic law, this was her verdict.
All right, Mr. Decastro, please stand. The problem with the argument that your attorney makes is it completely fails to consider the safety of the officer and the safety of the driver. The officer doesn't know who you are, and the driver doesn't know who you are. And you don't have any right to interfere with that officer doing his investigation and deciding if he wants to issue a ticket to this driver. And you also don't have any business approaching the driver. The driver didn't ask you for help. The driver didn't say, help, you know.
What law is that, by the way? So far, I have not heard any law. And so I tend to agree with, here's the deal on this one. Well, other than disparaging comments about the court, look, being a judge is a tough job. And politically, she's in a hard spot here. All these Vegas cops hate this guy, right? And she's an elected official. So you got to think about that. You know, there's more going on here than you probably know.
You didn't see an altercation happening between the officer and this driver. The officer didn't protest that you were filming. There's no problem with filming. You can film, it's fine, all right? But you did interfere with his investigation. You did interfere with his ability to do his job. You did put him in a position where he is concerned for his safety and the safety of the driver. So I believe the state's met their burden beyond reasonable doubt. I'm going to find you guilty of obstructing a public officer and resisting a public officer.
In my opinion, there was no lawful basis for this conviction. There was only a subjective opinion that Chille obstructed and resisted.
I would say that's fair.
Dangerous precedent that discourages transparency and penalizes those who would want to hold their public officials accountable. So then the prosecuting attorney recommends that Chille attend an impulse control class, be charged $500 of the equivalent in community service, and serve 90 days suspended sentence on each count to run concurrent. After the defense claims that Chille believes in what he's doing and doesn't want to engage in wrongdoing, the judge reveals the real reason she's passing down such a harsh sentence.
When you say he doesn't wish to engage in any wrongdoing, it seems to me from observing him in the video that he wants this. He wants to get arrested. He wants to get into an altercation with police officers. He welcomes this. This helps his YouTube channel. He called the officers here in my courtroom today pigs. He called and he's nodding his head up and down. So apparently he hates every law enforcement officer in the United States. All right, please stand up, sir. I hereby sentence you to 90 days in the Clark County Detention Center on count 1, 90 days in the Clark County Detention Center on count 2, to run consecutive for a total of 180 days in custody. Thank you.
Sentence suspended or?
Oh no, I'm going to start right now.
So, hold up, let's get this going. Okay, so you just saw it. Okay, I think here's the deal was right about this. I think that this is an unfair conviction based upon my knowledge of law as a lawyer in California and Texas. I don't know much about Nevada law, and I'm not authorized to practice law in Nevada. But I don't think it was fair. I think what happened to him, just from my personal point of view, put it in the comments if you think it was fair from a factual perspective. Not that you hate Chille or that you love him, but just based upon from a factual perspective. How did he interfere, obstruct, or delay anybody? And put it in the comments if you think that he has to go to a journalism school or work for Channel 4 News in order to be a journalist. Put that in the comments so we kind of get an idea of what your understanding of the law and basic common sense is. Now, I am stopping this video at about 33:33. We can finish watching it tomorrow. I got to take my son to judo class, so I can't really stick around too much longer. And I wanted to be able to answer some questions to people. Hold on. Let me just scroll down here and take a look. I don't know how many people joined me today, but I really do appreciate it. And I'm going to make a good faith effort to try and visit Chille. I'm going to go out to Las Vegas and try and visit him and just give him some support, because I know he's probably going through hell. And so if anybody has anything nice to say, let me know and I'll try to pass it along. Unfortunately, until I talk to him and stuff, I don't want to say anything about what he has or hasn't said to me. But if I can get anything that I can share with you, I'll definitely get it. Now it says here, based upon your claim state, 140, Penal Code 148, probably not much different. Yeah. Yeah. So in California, I think it's 148G, but 148 is like the catch-all, resisting, obstructing, delaying an officer in the performance of their duties. And it's basically, if a cop doesn't like you, that's what they're going to arrest you for. So what happened is cops were in the habit of stomping on people's camera phones and smashing them whenever they were being filmed. So the legislature finally passed a law, and it got incorporated into Penal Code Section 148 as far as being able to record. But I believe California officers, at least LAPD, they look at the 10-foot rule as a safe rule. But if you're locked in place and both your hands are being occupied by cameras, it's pretty clear you're not a threat, right? So, and officers also know, or should have, that officer knew or should have known that there's all kinds of people out filming all the time, and he should be prepared for that. He shouldn't be treating people who are doing that like they're suspicious. So, but look, Nevada is a little bit different than the other states. It's a real like old school law and order kind of state. Like I said, the cops get, free food at the employee lounges and the casinos, and top rated, penthouse suites from what I hear, if they're like officer of the month or whatever. And they get all kinds of perks and benefits. And look, they seem pretty, look, they've always been cool to me, but I'm not out doing audits either. So, whatever. Let's go through here. Tell Chille the lawyer saved Wondrome, whatever. Don't know what that means. Totally unfair from a factual perspective. Hopefully she'll get fired for her biased judgment from a real court if there is one. Well, I don't think that she would get fired by an appellate court. What would probably happen, I'm confident that this case will be reversed on appeal. I mean, the evidence is overwhelmingly in favor of Chille. From my perspective, at least if this was in California, I think that I would have won this on appeal. Let me see here. King Braveheart, I'll check my messages. I have been absolutely swamped today, but I will just go down the list. And I appreciate y'all hanging out and talking to me. You see here, hugs and kisses. Big kiss to Chille. Tell him Melania's thinking of him. All right. Hey, if there's a way I can show him this video on my cell phone, if they let me bring it in, I will. I promise. Chille for governor. Hey, everybody put OTVO into the sidebar. OTVO. Now, by the way, there's this Chicago lawyer. I was checking him out today. He just hates Chille. And I think he's got like 500,000 followers. And I'm sure he's following the whole story. Guys, I have no idea who any of these people are. Like this guy, here's the deal. I have no idea who he is. So I just want you guys to know, I saw something that I thought was wrong. I wasn't expecting all these people to start hating on me and questioning my credentials and stuff. But yeah, I mean, you can see for yourself, even without being a lawyer, that Chille didn't do anything wrong. Okay, here we go. He's better than Channel 4. He's better than CNN. Well, look, I think anything's better than the mainstream media. I mean, these guys are just a bunch of bought and paid for hacks. You say anything bad about, the mRNA injections, they try to ban your social media accounts. If any scientists or doctors say anything bad about any of this stuff they're trying to inject us with, they'll get banned because they're trying to create this environment of a consensus. That's the whole point, right? You silence everybody who disagrees with you, and then it looks like there's a consensus. It's very Orwellian. And this is what modern day academia has become. And that's why I am fearful for kids who go to colleges. They go in there well-meaning and they come out on hormones with their hair dyed blue, just completely whacked out of their minds. So you guys got to think about all that stuff. Think for yourself. Don't listen to anything anyone says unless you can back it up and verify it. Let's see here. Chille want to hear the lawyer save Wanda Mice from the dungeon. I don't know who that is. I will. I'll pass it on, that you guys all love them. Any comments on Pennsylvania v. Mims and how that relates to what are and what are not lawful orders by police? Not in this video, but we can talk about it in the next one because I got to go. I got to take my son to judo class. It's like a big deal for me. My dad had me in judo when I was a kid. And it's a really nice, honorable art to pass on to my son. And so got to do it. It's super, super exciting to see him grow. All your young boys should be taking martial arts. All boys, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, boxing. You got to teach boys how to be men. And you got to teach them how to also channel their anger. And it's, keeping them working out, keeping them eating right. That's good stuff. Keep off the sugar. All right. Team DLZ, we won't stop. I like that. So some guy's asking me about something called trellis. I don't know what that is, but it's real simple, guys. If you want to look at my credentials, you can go on Google and type in my name. I've been licensed in California since 2005 and in Texas, I think since 21 or 22, maybe. There was an administrative suspension on the California bar for, I think, a month or something because I failed to turn in some form, some new requirement. It really pisses me off. But yeah, I'm an active lawyer. Reconnect tomorrow. Yes. We will. I will. So I'll notice another one for tomorrow. Put it in the comments what you'd like me to talk about tomorrow. Maybe we talk about Pennsylvania v. Mims. Maybe I bring on this guy from Here's the Deal. Would you guys like that? I mean, put it in the comments because I think maybe I'll try to get that Chicago lawyer, the guy that hates Chille. Maybe he'll come on and we can have like a debate. Look, the story's got legs, guys. The idea is I want to get away from hating Chille and more into why it was improper what happened to him and why you think it was or why you think it wasn't. This is a great training area for all of us because we get an opportunity to see how personalities and how you act can play a major role in how things go down. It's a big, big deal. So anyways, everybody, I'm going to take off. Make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to save. Make sure to record this because honestly, you never know when the thought police are going to take down this channel. The things that I say are thought-provoking. Clearly, there's a lot of people who don't like you to have or don't want you to have an alternative way of thinking. But remember, the administrative state is never the answer. Natural law, you have unalienable rights that were granted to you by your creator under the laws of nature and of nature's God. And that's where they all flow from. Remember that, everybody. That's why I'm a target. That's why they don't want me up here talking. Anyways, Semper Fi, do or die. I'll talk to you all soon. Hoorah.